Imagine standing on a cliff, facing the vast ocean, where waves roar and crash against the rocks, spraying white foam. One moment, the sky is calm, sunlight glinting off the water. The next, a storm rolls in, dark clouds churning. Life is like that. Today you're laughing and carefree. But tomorrow, an unexpected wave might hit. A lost job, a family argument, or a crisis that leaves your heart in knots. When that storm comes, will you stand firm, your mind clear, or will you be swept away by worry and fear? Stoicism offers an answer. Calmness isn't a gift from the heavens. It's a flame you forge daily. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Today, through 8 Stoic lessons, I'll guide you to anchor your mind in the present, cultivate calm like a mountain, ignite courage, and build a lighthouse of purpose. This is a journey to turn storms into opportunities, so you don't just live, you shine. Are you ready to grasp the Stoic torch and begin? 1. Don't get trapped in the past or future. When you stand on the cliff, gazing at the churning ocean of life, what unsettles your mind most? Is it painful memories from the past, a sharp criticism, a missed opportunity, or a failure that still gnaws at you? Or is it anxiety about the future, fear of losing your job, fear of falling short of your dreams, fear that tomorrow will be worse than today? When your mind drifts between those two shores, it's like a ship lost at sea, anchorless, tossed endlessly by the waves. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, said, "Man lives only in the present, in this fleeting moment. The past is dissolved like sea foams. The future is yet to arrive like distant clouds. Only the present is where you can steer, find calm, and shape your fate." Consider Serena Williams, one of the greatest tennis players ever. In 2014, after a crushing defeat at Wimbledon, she was haunted by missed shots and moments she believed she'd ruined everything. The past weighed heavily, and fear of losing the next match scrambled her mind. But Serena transformed. She embraced mindfulness, focusing on each swing, each breath on the court. Instead of letting her mind wander to past losses or future worries. The result? She won the U.S. Open that same year, hailed by ESPN 2014 as a champion with an iron will. A Scientific American study, 2023, found that mindfulness, living fully in the present, cuts stress by 30% and boosts focus, equipping you to face challenges with a clear mind. Closer to your own life, picture yourself in a tense moment, a family argument. Maybe you want to pursue a different path, like switching careers to writing, but your parents object, calling it unstable. Your mind gets tugged to the past, times you failed in their eyes, or advice you ignored. At the same time, you dread the future. Will you succeed or regret choosing wrong? But what if you pause, right at that moment? Instead of letting your mind drift, you anchor it in the present, listening to your parents calmly, explaining your passion clearly, and seeking mutual understanding. A 2023 Guardian article shared the story of a young woman who navigated family conflict by focusing on the present conversation, not letting past or future cloud her judgment. She not only resolved the dispute, but also won her family's support for her dreams. So, how do you drop anchor and live fully in the present? First, recognize when your mind wanders, when you start thinking if only or what if. A single pause is enough. Second, pull yourself back to the now. Focus on your breath, the feel of your feet on the ground, or the surrounding sounds. Third, Ask yourself, what can I do right now? Maybe it's jotting down a journal entry, saying thank you to someone, or simply smiling and moving forward. A 2024 study in the Journal of Positive Psychology found that people who focus on the present feel 25% more content and significantly less anxious. When you anchor your mind in this moment, you don't just find calm, you unlock the power to shape your future. Living in the present doesn't mean forgetting the past or ignoring the future. It's realizing that today is the only day you can act, change, and shine. Serena Williams did it. That young woman did too. And so can you. If you've ever pulled your mind back to the present and found calm, share that moment in the comments. Your story could be the breeze that lifts someone else's wings. Are you ready to drop anchor, stand firm amid the storm, and start right now? 2. Calmness isn't weakness, it's strength. When you anchor your mind in the present, you've taken the first step to steering your ship through life's vast ocean. But when the storm hits, a cutting criticism, a heated argument, or crushing pressure, what keeps you steady? In this noisy world, we often think strength means shouting, dominating, or erupting with emotion to prove we're right. Yet Stoicism reveals a surprising truth. True strength doesn't lie in loud outbursts, but in the quiet of a calm mind. Calmness isn't weakness or surrender. It's a towering mountain, unshaken, no matter how fiercely the winds howl. Picture yourself in a tense family moment. Maybe you've just shared your plan to switch careers, opening a small coffee shop to chase your passion. But your parents push back hard. They call it a fantasy, saying you're wasting time. Your blood boils. You want to shout to defend your dream or storm off in anger. But what if you pause, right in the present? You take a deep breath, listen to them with respect, and respond in a calm voice, explaining the reasons behind your passion. Surprisingly, the tension eases and the conversation shifts from conflict to understanding. A 2023 Guardian article shared the story of a young man who navigated a family dispute by staying calm when criticized for choosing photography as a career. Instead of arguing, he presented his work with quiet confidence, ultimately winning his family's support. A 2024 Psychology Today study found that people who remain calm during family conflicts are 35% more likely to maintain harmonious relationships. Now, look at a greater example. Nelson Mandela. During 27 years imprisoned for opposing South Africa's apartheid regime, he faced injustice, suffering, and isolation, enough to break anyone. He had every reason to cling to anger, to let pain turn into hatred. But Mandela chose differently. He kept his mind calm, learned Afrikaans to understand his jailers, and turned his years of captivity into a forge for his resolve. When freed, he didn't seek revenge. He negotiated peace, guiding South Africa through the shadow of division. The BBC, 2013, called him a mountain of steadfastness, proving that calmness isn't just personal strength. It can transform a nation. A 2024 Harvard Business Review study found that those who stay calm in conflict are 25% more likely to persuade and resolve issues, just as Mandela did. So, how do you build your own mountain of calm? First, when emotions surge, when criticism or pressure makes your heart race, pause and take a deep breath, just 5 seconds, enough to settle the storm within. Second, remind yourself, calm is my power. No one can take it away. This reframes the situation. showing you that others' words don't define your worth. Third, choose to respond, not react. A slight smile, a steady reply, or even meaningful silence. Think of a time a colleague misunderstood you in a team project. Instead of arguing, you calmly shared your perspective, and surprisingly, the group started listening. When you do this, you don't just control yourself, you make others reflect on their behavior. Calmness is strength because it grants you freedom. Freedom from being swept away by others' emotions. Freedom to choose how you show up in the world. A 2023 Journal of Organizational Behavior study found that those who stay calm under pressure are rated 40% higher in leadership competence by colleagues. Nelson Mandela turned calmness into a flame of peace. That young man used it to bridge a gap with his family. And you can too. If you've ever stayed calm in a tense moment, whether a small argument or a major challenge, share your story in the comments. Each story is a stone, building a mountain of inspiration for others. Are you ready to stand like a mountain, letting the storm pass without being shaken? 3. Courage, the virtue of a resilient mind. You've anchored your mind in the present and built a mountain of calm amid the storm. But sometimes, life's ocean doesn't just test your composure. It demands a different flame, the flame of courage. In Stoic philosophy, courage isn't about charging into danger or acting recklessly. It's the strength to face fear, to stand up for what's right, to move forward even when your heart pounds with anxiety. Seneca, a Stoic philosopher, said, "Sometimes to live is courage." When you dare to stare down the storm without turning away, you're not just calm. You become a blazing light, shining through the darkness of challenge. Think of Malala Yousafzai, the Pakistani girl who changed the world. At 15, Malala was attacked for advocating girls' education, an act her enemies hoped would silence her forever. Fear could have hushed her, pulling her into the shadows of despair. But Malala chose courage. She recovered, wrote a book, spoke out globally, and in 2014, at 17, became the youngest Nobel Peace Prize recipient. The New York Times, 2014, called her an unquenchable flame, proving courage doesn't require age or physical strength. It starts with the will in your mind. A 2023 Journal of Personality and Social Psychology study found that those who face their fears are 30% more likely to drive positive community change, just as Malala did. Now bring courage closer to your life. Imagine you've just lost your job due to an unexpected round of layoffs. Fear rushes in. Fear of not paying bills. Fear of being judged a failure. Fear of an uncertain future. Your mind wants to shrink, to sink into anxiety. But what if you pause and choose courage? Instead of letting fear lead, you enroll in a new skills course, apply to places you've never considered, or start a small project. Forbes, 2024, told of a software engineer who, after being laid off, overcame fear by learning AI programming. In just 2 years, he built a startup worth millions. His courage wasn't the absence of fear, it was action despite fear. A study from Psychology Today, 2023, showed that people who dare to step past the fear of failure increase their chances of achieving long-term goals by 35%. So how do you ignite your own flame of courage? First, when fear strikes, when you want to procrastinate or avoid, pause and ask, what's the worst that could happen? Often, the fear is bigger than reality. Second, Take small steps. Send a job application email. Talk to a friend. Or try something you've been avoiding. Third, remind yourself, courage isn't the absence of fear. It's moving through it. Think about a time you faced a tough decision, maybe sharing a truth with a loved one, knowing they might react harshly. You trembled, but you spoke up, and surprisingly you felt relieved, stronger than ever. When you do this, you don't just stay calm. You become the flame lighting your own path. Courage is the virtue of a resilient mind, for it turns frightening waves into opportunities to grow. Malala used courage to change the world. That engineer used it to rebuild his life. And you have that same flame within you. It just needs you to dare to light it. A study from Harvard Business Review, 2024, showed that people who demonstrate courage in adversity are rated 45% higher in leadership qualities by colleagues and superiors. If you've ever had a moment of courage, whether facing a small fear or a big challenge, share that story in the comments. Each flame you ignite will inspire others. Are you ready for fear to step back and let courage lead the way? 4. Life isn't fair, but that doesn't matter. You've anchored your mind in the present, built a mountain of calmness, and ignited the flame of courage to face the storms of life's ocean. But sometimes those waves bring not just challenges, but injustice. Moments that make you ask, why me? You work hard, but don't get promoted. You offer kindness, but receive betrayal. Those unfair reigns can make you resentful, drown in misery, or lose faith in the world. But Stoic philosophy teaches a profound lesson. Life isn't fair, but that doesn't matter. Epictetus once said, "What matters is not what happens, but how you respond." Injustice isn't a burden. It's rain you can't stop, but you can choose to hold an umbrella and keep moving forward. Think about Oprah Winfrey, an icon of resilience. As a young woman, she was fired from a local television station's anchor role because she was not suitable for on-screen. She faced prejudice about her appearance, gender, and background, unfairness that could have crushed anyone. But Oprah refused to let it define her. She focused on what she could control, honing her skills, seeking new opportunities, and creating her own show. The result? She became a media mogul, inspiring millions. The Atlantic, 2018, called her someone who turned injustice into a crown. A study from Journal of Applied Psychology, 2023, showed that people who focus on their response rather than resentment of injustice increase their long-term success rate by 40%, just as Oprah did. Now, bring this lesson closer to you. Imagine you're going through a personal crisis. Maybe you've just lost an important relationship, like a long-standing friendship, due to a misunderstanding or betrayal. Your heart aches, wanting to blame, to hold on to that sadness forever. But what if you pause and view this unfair reign through a Stoic lens? Instead of sinking into resentment, you choose to focus on yourself, enrolling in a new class, connecting with positive people, or writing down things you're grateful for. An article in Psychology Today, 2023, told of a woman who overcame isolation after being shunned by friends. She started by volunteering at a community center, and from there, she rebuilt not just relationships, but also her joy in living. Injustice can't take your strength unless you let it. So, how do you hold an umbrella and walk through the rain of injustice? First, when something unfair happens, when you're rejected, misunderstood, or mistreated, pause and ask, Will anger or resentment change anything? The answer is usually no. Second, focus on what you can control. Improve your skills, take care of your health, or spread kindness, even if the world doesn't reciprocate. Third, remind yourself, injustice is rain, it will pass, and I am stronger than it. Think about a time a colleague overtook you on a project, even though you put in more effort. Instead of bitterness, you worked harder, presented new ideas, and eventually earned recognition. A study from Harvard Business Review, 2024, showed that people who accept injustice and act positively increase their ability to overcome setbacks by 30%. Injustice is part of life's ocean. You can't change how the waves crash or the rain falls, but you can choose how to stand in that rain with the umbrella of will, walking with dignity, and letting each step be a declaration that you are stronger than your circumstances. Oprah turned those unfair raindrops into fuel to soar high. That woman used them to plant new seeds of joy, and you can do the same. If you've ever overcome an injustice, big or small, by focusing on what you can control, share this video with someone who needs to hear this message, to remind them they are stronger than the rain. Are you ready to walk through injustice and let your will lead the way? Control your mind, or let it control you. You've learned to anchor your mind in the present, build a mountain of calmness, ignite the flame of courage, and walk through the unfair rains of life's ocean. But there's a wave stronger than any external storm, the wave of your own mind. Have you ever felt your heart racing out of control? Anxiety about money keeps you awake. Anger over a comment makes you explode, or fear of pressure paralyzes you. That's when your mind is like a wild horse, dragging you down paths you don't want to go. Epictetus, a Stoic philosopher, once said, "We suffer not from the events, but from our judgments of them." Controlling your mind isn't about suppressing emotions. It's about mastering how you perceive things, turning turbulent waves into a path that leads you further. Think about J.K. Rowling, the author of Harry Potter, one of the most famous names in the world. Before her success, she lived in poverty, a single mother facing days that seemed hopeless. Bills piled up, the pressure of raising a child alone, and the fear of failure could have drowned her mind in despair. But Rowling chose to control her mind. Instead of letting anxiety lead, she focused on what she could do, writing page by page, even in the fleeting moments at a cafe. She saw her struggles not as walls, but as challenges to overcome. The result? She created a magical world that inspired millions. The Guardian, 2015, called her someone who turned darkness into light. A study from Journal of Positive Psychology, 2023, showed that reframing negative thoughts, seeing challenges as opportunities, increases creativity and problem-solving ability by 20%, just as Rowling did. Now, bring this lesson into your life. Imagine your family is facing a financial crisis, job instability, mounting bills, and pressure weigh heavily on your shoulders. Your mind wants to blame. Blame the economy, others, or even yourself. You feel like you're about to drown. But what if you pause and take the reins of your mind? Instead of panicking, you make a savings plan, seek new opportunities, or simply spend time talking with your family to weather it together. The Wall Street Journal, 2024, told of a couple who overcame debt by controlling their minds, focusing on small steps, like cutting expenses and learning new skills. In 3 years, They not only paid off their debts, but also built a more stable life. Controlling their minds gave them not just calmness, but also hope. So, how do you become the one holding the reins of your mind? First, when emotions surge, when anxiety or anger rises, pause and write down the negative thought. For example, I will fail, or everything is unfair. Just writing it down separates you from it. Second, challenge that thought. Is this true? What have I overcome before? Third, replace it with a positive statement. I'm learning, and each step is progress. Think about a time you were rejected in a job interview. Instead of thinking, I'm not good enough, you remind yourself, I'll prepare better next time. A study from Harvard Business Review, 2024, showed that people who reframe negative thoughts increase their resilience in the face of failure by 25%. When you control your perspective, you don't just stay calm, you open new doors. Your mind is a powerful horse. It can take you to great heights or drag you into depths. But you are the one holding the reins, and every moment you choose how to evaluate is a decision shaping your life. J.K. Rowling turned poverty into creativity. That couple turned debt into hope. And you have that same power. If you've ever controlled your mind, whether overcoming a bad day or a big challenge, share that story in the comments below this video. Each story is a wind, helping others hoist their sails. Are you ready to take the reins of your mind and guide it through the storms? 6. Anger doesn't solve problems. You've learned to anchor your mind. Build a mountain of calmness, ignite the flame of courage, walk through the rain of injustice, and take the reins of your mind to ride the storms of life's ocean. But there's a particular wave, fast, fierce, and seemingly powerful. That's anger. Have you ever felt your blood boil? An unreasonable criticism, an unfair action, or a misunderstanding that makes you want to shout, to strike back immediately. Anger is like a raging wave, sweeping you away before you realize it. But Stoic philosophy teaches us that anger isn't the enemy. It's a signal, and how you respond to that signal defines who you are. Seneca once said, anger is brief madness. When you quell that wave, you don't just stay calm, you become the master of your fate. Think about Michelle Obama, one of the most inspiring figures of our time. As First Lady of the United States, she faced countless vicious criticisms, from attacks on her appearance and views to baseless accusations about her family. Those words could have driven anyone to explode in anger. But Michelle chose a different path. At the 2016 Democratic National Convention, she responded with her famous line, "When they go low, we go high." Instead of letting anger lead, she turned it into motivation to inspire, promoting unity and dignity. Vox, 2016, called it a defining moment of grace under pressure. A study from Emotion, 2024, showed that people who manage anger by choosing positive responses increase their influence on others by 30%, just as Michelle did. Now, bring this lesson into your life. Imagine you're in an important meeting at work. A colleague suddenly accuses you, claiming you didn't complete your part of a team project, even though you've been working day and night. Your blood boils. You want to stand up, point at them, and shout to defend your honor. But what if you pause, right in that moment? Instead of letting the wave of anger sweep you away, you take a deep breath, gather evidence, and present your perspective calmly. The result? Not only is the truth revealed, but the team respects you even more. Harvard Business Review, 2023, told of a manager who overcame workplace conflict by controlling anger, turning false accusations into an opportunity to prove their competence. A study from Journal of Organizational Behavior, 2024, showed that people who stay calm when attacked increase their ability to resolve conflicts effectively by 35%. So, how do you ride the wave of anger? First, when it flares up, when your heart races and you want to react, pause and count to 10. Just 10 seconds, enough to let the wave cool. Second, ask yourself, if I explode, will this fix anything? The answer is usually no. Anger rarely leads to good outcomes. Third, choose a wise action, a calm response, a rational solution, or simply walking away with your dignity intact. Think of a time you were interrupted in a heated argument with friends. Instead of shouting, you smiled, listened, and stated your point clearly. Surprisingly, they started respecting you more. When you do this, you don't just protect your calm, you build confidence and influence. Anger is a natural wave, but it's not the one steering the ship. You are. You decide whether it sweeps you away or glides past. Michelle Obama turned anger into the light of dignity. That manager used it to assert competence, and you can do it too. A 2024 Psychology Today study found that people who control anger improve their ability to maintain healthy relationships by 40%. If you've ever tamed an angry wave, whether in a small moment or a big conflict, share how you did it in the comments below this video. Your story could be the breeze that helps someone else sail through rough waters. Are you ready to let anger pass and let reason lead the way? 7. Losing control is a choice. You've anchored your mind, built a mountain of calm, lit a fire of courage, walked through the rain of injustice, reined in your thoughts, and ridden the wave of anger in life's vast ocean. But sometimes a sudden gust hits, a moment where you feel you've lost control. You shout in an argument, panic under pressure, or let emotions steer you off course. We often blame circumstances. They made me angry, or the situation forced me to act that way. But Stoic philosophy delivers a powerful truth. Losing control isn't caused by external storms. It's your choice. Epictetus said, "No one harms you unless you believe you're harmed." When you grasp this, you don't just stay calm. You seize true freedom. Think of Elon Musk, one of the world's boldest entrepreneurs. In 2018, Tesla faced a dire crisis: production delays, media criticism, and the threat of bankruptcy piled pressure on Musk. He could have let emotions take over, panicking, blaming his team, or giving up. Instead, Musk chose to master his mind. He zeroed in on small problems, streamlining production, listening to employees, and holding fast to his vision. The result? Tesla overcame the crisis, becoming one of the world's most valuable companies. Bloomberg, 2024, called him the man who turns pressure into magic. A 2023 MIT Sloan study found that those who choose rational responses in crises boost their chances of success by 40%, just as Musk proved. Now let's bring this lesson closer to home. Picture yourself arguing with a loved one, maybe your partner, over a small misunderstanding, like who forgot a household chore. Words escalate, your voice rises, and you feel you're about to lose control, tempted to say something hurtful or storm off in anger. But what if you paused right in that moment? Instead of letting the gust of emotion sweep you away, you take a deep breath, listen to them, and choose a gentle response to diffuse the tension. The New York Times, 2023, shared a story of a couple who saved their relationship out by learning to pause before arguments spiraled. They practiced controlling their reactions, turning tense moments into chances for understanding. A 2023 Journal of Family Psychology study found that managing emotions during family conflicts boosts the odds of a lasting relationship by 35%. So, how do you choose not to lose control? First, when emotions surge, when you want to yell or act impulsively, pause and tell yourself, "I choose my response." That one sentence puts you back in the driver's seat. Second, observe your emotions like an outsider. Notice anger or fear, but don't let them take the wheel. Third, act deliberately. Listen, ask a question, or choose silence to keep the peace. Think of a time you were stressed at work, tempted to complain or quit. Instead, you focused on the task at hand, and surprisingly, you performed better than expected. When you do this, you don't just stay calm. You become the one shaping your destiny. Losing control is a choice, and every moment you refuse it, you're choosing freedom. Freedom from emotional gusts, freedom to live true to your values. Elon Musk chose control to save Tesla. That couple chose it to save their relationship. And you have that power too. If you believe losing control is a choice, hit like to spread this message and share a moment when you held on to control. Each story is a gentle breeze, helping others stand firm. Are you ready to let emotional winds pass and let your will lead the way? 8. Build a life of purpose. You've anchored your mind in the present, built a mountain of calm, lit a fire of courage, walked through the rain of injustice, reined in your thoughts, ridden the wave of anger, and let the gust of losing control pass by in the vast ocean of life. But what keeps your sails raised, even after the storm subsides? It's purpose, the lighthouse guiding your path, giving meaning amid chaotic waves. Stoic philosophy teaches that a life worth living isn't about chasing fame or pleasure. It's about living true to your values and creating value for the world. Marcus Aurelius said, "Do the best you can with what you have. That is your purpose." When you build a life of purpose, you don't just stay calm. You become a light for yourself and others. Think of Greta Thunberg, the young climate activist who changed how the world views climate change. At just 15, Greta began a solo school strike outside Sweden's parliament, demanding climate action. She faced criticism, skepticism, and pressure that could have broken anyone. But Greta had a clear purpose: protecting the planet for future generations. That purpose guided her, helping her stand firm against the storm. In 2019, Time named her Person of the Year, inspiring millions to act. A 2023 The Lancet study found that people living with clear purpose cut chronic stress risk by 25% and feel more fulfilled, just as Greta has shown. Now, let's bring this lesson to your life. Imagine you've just gone through a divorce, a loss that leaves you feeling adrift, like a ship without a harbor. You wonder, what am I living for? But what if you paused and searched for your own lighthouse? Maybe you realize your purpose is raising your kids with love or helping your community through volunteering. HuffPost, 2024, shared the story of a woman who found meaning after divorce by teaching free yoga to underprivileged kids. That purpose not only healed her, but also brought joy to others. A 2023 Journal of Happiness Studies report found that living with purpose boosts happiness by 30%, even in adversity. So, how do you build your own lighthouse? First, ask yourself, what makes me feel meaningful? It might be helping others, learning endlessly, or creating something beautiful. Second, set small goals tied to that value, like volunteering an hour a week or learning a new skill to serve your community. Third, remind yourself, every small step is a light I ignite. Think of a time you helped a stranger, even with just a bit of advice. That feeling, the sense of creating value, is the lighthouse guiding you. When you live with purpose, you don't just weather storms, you light the way for others. Purpose is the lighthouse that keeps you steady, no matter what storms rage in life's ocean. Greta Thunberg used it to change the world. That woman used it to heal herself, and you can find that light too. If you've discovered your purpose, big or small, share it in the comments below this video. Every lighthouse you reveal inspires others to raise their sails. Are you ready to ignite your lighthouse and guide your way through the ocean of life? Pause on that cliff once more, gazing down at the ocean of life. The waves still crash, sometimes fierce, sometimes gentle. But you're no longer a drifting ship. Through 8 Stoic lessons, you've learned to anchor your mind in the present. Build a mountain of calm against roaring winds. Light a fire of courage in the darkness. Walk through the rain of injustice with the umbrella of will. Rein in your thoughts to steer the way. Ride the wave of anger with reason. Let the gust of losing control pass and ignite a lighthouse of purpose to guide your path. This journey doesn't promise a storm-free ocean, but it gives you the strength to raise your sails, no matter the tempest. Stoic philosophy reminds us that calm isn't a destination. It's a journey you choose daily. When you live in the present, wield calm as strength, face fears with courage, accept injustice, master your mind, quell anger, refuse to lose control, and live with purpose, you don't just overcome challenges. You become a light for others. A 2024 Psychology Today study found that those who apply Stoic principles boost their ability to handle stress and find meaning in life by 35%. You don't need to be Marcus Aurelius or Greta Thunberg. Just be you, with the will to train moment by moment. Now, carry this Stoic torch into the world. The next time a storm hits, a fight, a failure, or a bad day, remember, you control your mind, not external events. Apply one lesson, however small. Breathe to find calm, question to gain control, or set a goal to ignite purpose. If this journey has touched you, share this video to spread the flame of calm to someone who needs it. Together, we can make life's ocean a place where light never fades. Are you ready to stand firm, raise your sails, and shine through the tempest? Start today.